Lara Trump, Fox News contributor, joins us right now. Lara, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. By the way, another stat on Charlotte. It is 4 hours away from my hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina, in case anyone wanted to know.
There you go.
That's right. That's where you went to go shopping, right, when you were a young girl. You still are young.
We went to Raleigh or we went to Charlotte.
Yep. We did too.
It's great to have you. Yesterday at the White House, our correspondent asked Jen Psaki about something that your father-in-law did a number of times, and that is go to our southern border. But it wasn't about when was the last time. It was a little more expansive, and the answer is shocking. Watch this.
Has President Biden ever been to the southern border?
In his life?
Yes.
I will have to look back in my history books and check the times he's been to the southern border.
We have been looking all morning, and we cannot find any record of him visiting the border as president, vice president, senator, or even as a concerned citizen. Why would that be?
I can check and see when the last time or when he may have been. But tell me more about why you're asking.
Because this is a president who makes a point when there are disasters in this country, like a wildfire or a hurricane, to go and see for himself firsthand what the needs are of the local community so that he can have an informed POV to make policy. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he go down to Del Rio, Texas, and see what's going on?
Well, first of all, Peter, I think the situation at the border is the result of a broken system, and the president certainly relies on his experience.
So, Laura, yesterday, Peter in our brain room looked for hours, could not find any record of Joe Biden ever being at the U.S.-Mexican border.
Can I just say that I am so glad that we have Peter Doocy at the White House asking real questions. And they shouldn't be tough questions, by the way. These are very straightforward questions that should be easy to answer. But it seems to give the press secretary there a real hard time when he's there. We're very fortunate to have him asking actual questions. But you heard Jen Psaki there. Dare I say, did she slip up, guys, and perhaps tell the truth that Joe Biden is actually relying on his experience here, his 5 decades of doing just about nothing for the American people and applying it to the southern border? I think that's pretty accurate. He's doing nothing down there. You would think, to Peter's point, if you have a complete crisis at hand, whether it's wildfires, whether it's hurricanes, whether it's mass shootings, whatever it might be, the president of the United States always goes to those areas and as he referenced, talks to the local community and says, what do you need? How can we help? Joe Biden is completely absent in this scenario, but maybe there is a more sinister reason. Maybe it is because this is all purposeful. Maybe it is because they want these millions of illegal immigrants pouring into our country. Perhaps these are the future voters for the Democrat Party. The United States of America is incredibly disenfranchised with what we have seen in the first 8 months of the Biden presidency. So you have to ask yourself, is there a bigger reason he hasn't even bothered to go down there? Maybe they want it to happen.
The closest we could find was Guatemala in 2014 to address root causes. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, just in the New York Times today, they said when he was drawing up his immigration policies, officials in his cabinet were saying that maybe you should hold on to the Trump policy known as Remain in Mexico, at which time he decided not to do that because Trump had become so toxic. So rather than solve the problem, he wanted to play politics. It sounds exactly like Afghanistan.
It sounds exactly like Afghanistan. And yeah, we have a solution. It is to do what Donald Trump did, because that was working. Finish the wall. We saw that they had to build basically a wall with vehicles down there to stop people from coming over the border. Walls work. We know that. Finish building the wall. Keep the Remain in Mexico policy. Re-implement the policies that the Trump administration had put in because they were working. But Joe Biden couldn't help himself. He had to do away with every single thing that Donald Trump had put in place. So you're right, Brian. It's preposterous to see this happen in America, that this guy would rather play politics than protect the American people. But sadly, that is what we have on our hands right now with Joe Biden as president.
I know when your father-in-law was president, he was pro-Israel and supported the Iron Dome, which has saved the lives of so many Israelis. We normally contribute to the Iron Dome, and we were supposed to give $1 billion for that defense system. And the funding was removed on Tuesday from this government funding package after a lot of pressure from the squad. There is now a Democrat from Connecticut, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro. She's the House Appropriations Chair. She wants that funding put back in place.
Good.
And she is introducing a new bill. She says the United States' commitment to the security of our friend and ally Israel is ironclad. Replenishing interceptors used to protect Israel from attacks is our legal and moral responsibility. While this funding would ordinarily be included in a year-end spending package, we are advancing this legislation now to demonstrate Congress's bipartisan commitment to Israel's security as part of a Middle East with lasting peace. So why do you think the squad is against giving Israel this money which protects their people?
Well, sadly, Ainsley, they've shown that they hate Israel. They have not made any bones about it. Every way possible, they have shown their anti-Semitism at every single turn. And it's horrible to see. Israel is our Middle Eastern ally. They are the only free nation in the Middle East. And gosh, we ought to protect them. We ought to want to protect that country, and we always have. But I think the scariest part of this is if you ever wondered who was actually in control of the Democrat Party, if these women could take $1 billion and make it $0, basically in the matter of hours, that's your answer. These are the people running the Democrat Party. It was not hyperbole when we suggested that there were socialists running the Democrat Party. It is these women, and here is your proof. And that is a really scary thing for the future of America. If decisions like this can be made by a very small group of people who do not represent the average American, whose values are far outside of the bounds of anything that we have ever considered American, what does that say for the future of our country if these are the people now in charge?
Yeah. Listen, Mac Miller, who is running for lieutenant governor of the great state of Nevada, went to the people in charge of Clark County in Nevada, and he wanted to speak on behalf, his point of view. They were talking about COVID and all sorts of things. There he is being dragged out of the meeting. They rammed him into, I'm sure it was accidental, but nonetheless, they threw him through a metal detector. Here he is talking about what happened and what he thinks, why it happened. Here he is, Mac Miller.
The county commission meetings are supposed to be run by the commissioners for the people of Clark County here in Nevada. And those people have a right to ask questions and be interested in what's on the agenda at these meetings. And what was on the agenda at this meeting was a proclamation to basically do away with Nevada's Clark County's First Amendment rights. And I was there to witness and oppose this proclamation. And that didn't get to happen because I was attacked after trying to defend the people in this county. They will never stop me, Mac Miller, from being able to defend them, and they'll never prevent me from coming out to defend the people of this great state of Nevada.
And Laura, at that particular meeting, the final vote was 5-2, where the committee declared that spreading COVID-19 misinformation is a public health crisis. He wanted to speak out, but obviously, and perhaps it was because he was a Republican, not allowed. And that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, any dissenting opinion will get this. This is what will happen to. I mean, basically where we're headed in America right now under Democrat control is that if your opinion does not directly align with theirs and you are not putting information out that they agree with, then you are silenced. Your First Amendment right is immediately taken away. You saw it happen here. What a terrible scene to see. This shouldn't happen in the United States of America. And I think it's very, very frightening that this has happened so quickly here. What happened to public discourse? What happened to us sharing opinions? And we can all gain from that. That used to be the way of things, that I would share my opinion and you could share yours and we could learn from one another.
Right.
But now that is over. Those days are gone. Now, unless your views, as I said, align directly with what the Democrats and big tech want to have out there, you are silenced on social media.
Yeah.
You are kicked out of meetings like this. And we see it happen and time again. It's terrible.
Yeah, you remember the president said his patience is wearing thin with the American people, so we're getting on his nerves a little bit. We see also what's great, our allies really feel welcomed. France just recalled their ambassador, and Israel was left naked in front of Hamas, thanks to the Democratic Party. It's a great message. Laura, thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.